fabric cutting part 2. So with knit fabrics, the direction of stretch is the most important, and it stretches quite a bit this way, but doesn't really stretch up and down. With sleeves, my arms expand out side to side, especially when you flex, but not really up and down. I have a line on here that is supposed to mark my straight of grain, but as you can see, there's not much edge of fabric I can line this up with. So instead, I've lined up the edge of my fabric with my cutting mat so that I can line up that straight line with lines on my cutting mat. I'm going to pick this line to line things up from. Now my straight of grain line has to be parallel to my selvage, which I've lined up with this line. So what that essentially means is that if it is, let's see, 9 3/4 of an inch away from the line up here, it also has to be 9 3/4 of an inch away from the line down here. The way I like to do these is I measure the top, I stick a pin in the top of the straight of grain line, and then I measure the bottom and stick a pin in there. And since I stuck my pin in up here, I can still rotate this a little bit to make it the size that to make it the place that I need it to be. Once I make sure it's in the right spot, I'm going to now stick a pin down here. And the reason I stick those two pieces in first is because those are the two things that need to line up. Everything else now I can smooth out and line up according to those two places. Now, when you cut out fabric like this, you don't have to cut close to the edges right away. You could do something what is called a rough cut before you go in and do a fussy cut. Now you see I have my rough cut all done, so then I can go in and more precisely cut things out without having to deal with all that huge amount of extra fabric getting in the way. Also, as an extra tip, when you're cutting around curves, you're still doing those big smooth cuts. You're just also turning your scissors and angling around those curves as you do so. And if I'm doing this with a rotary cutter, I'm doing the exact same thing. I push down on the paper so that it doesn't go anywhere, and I very carefully and slowly trace around those curves. And the blade side of my rotary cutter is towards my pattern, because if it's on the opposite side like this, I can't see what I'm doing nearly as well. I would also like to note that while the rotary cutter is in my right hand, the fabric is towards the left side of my hand. If my rotary cutter was in my left hand, I would need the fabric to be this way so that I can easily see where I'm cutting.